try making a screen capture video to help with virtual sites again, this time with some narration that might help you guys. I'm also going to update the method that we're going to use for getting access to files by using Google Drive. I've talked with ITS and they recommend that this is a much better way to go. This video is being made for Earth 408 in the winter of 2020 for virtual teaching at the University of Michigan. But the basics of what I'm going to cover in this video will be useful for anybody at Michigan trying to use virtual sites with their own files and data. So the first thing you're going to need to do is get the virtual sites client from VMware. The place to go and get that is from midesktop.umich.edu. You will see this screen, VMware Horizon, and you'll see two options: install the Horizon client or use HTML access. For the purposes of our class, and from what I understand from ITS, almost all purposes, you want to install the VMware client. I'm not going to click on this right now because I've already installed it, but it will follow the process you are used to for installing software for either a Mac, Windows, or Linux machine, obviously depending on what your personal laptop is. Once you've installed the client, you can launch the application, and that's what I'm going to do now. And you will see a window open up, and you should have an option here that says mydesktop.umich.edu. I understand that some students also see a second icon labeled CAEN. The CAEN is exclusively for students of the College of Engineering and will not work for our class. So what you want to do is double click on the My Desktop icon. You'll see it say connecting, and then you enter your typical unique name password and click login. It says connecting for a second, and now you see it says virtual sites. When I click on this, it should launch a site, and it'll say loading desktop. And in my case, I expect it to open in a new desktop. Usually sits at white or black for a few seconds, and then you will see the Windows machine starting to load. And so that's what we're doing now. So this takes a few seconds. It doesn't load instantaneously. And as it goes through the loading process of saying preparing, it will then eventually also launch a Chrome browser that'll open up automatically to the University of Michigan website for what's called Apps Anywhere. And we'll see that launch hopefully in a second or so. Okay, so this is the Windows desktop. It has this purplish background color. And it's going to boot Chrome up for it in a second, I believe. And I will wait for that to happen, and then I will minimize the Chrome browser window for a second. Okay, so this is just the Apps Anywhere web page at the University of Michigan. Got some information about how to use that and about campus computing. For the moment, I'm just going to minimize this browser and then just show you that what you see over here is typical programs that you'll have available on any computer or desktop at any Michigan Computing Center. For our class, we're interested in using the ArcGIS software, and you see it's here listed alphabetically with ArcMap 10.7.1, ArcCatalog, ArcScene, and other Esri products that we have used previously. Now, one of the challenges with using the virtual desktops or the virtual sites is that every time you close this virtual machine, or even should you lose your internet connection, you will unfortunately lose all of your work. There's also no simple way to get your files onto this virtual machine. And so what I'm going to do is show you a way that we can connect the virtual machine to Google Drive and Mbox so that you can actually open and close and save files to Google Drive or Mbox as if they were a hard drive connected to this virtual machine. So we're going to launch Google Chrome again, or open Google Chrome, and we're going to create a new tab here. And we're going to go to the following website. And again, I'm doing this on Chrome inside of the virtual machine, not on my own personal laptop, but in the virtual machine itself. So we're going to go to Kumo, Kumo, .it.umich.edu. Okay, and you'll get this University of Michigan branded page for this product called Kumo. And what Kumo will let you do is create local hard drives for Box and Google Drive to access your files. So I'm going to go ahead here and say log in and use my unique name and credentials. Respond to the two-factor authentication request. And now you see here are Box and Google Drive. And I'm going to simply authorize Kumo to access these. Okay, and so those are now both authorized. We can see that shown up here with the green check marks. Okay, I'm going to minimize this once again, and now I'm just going to show you if I open the file browser for Windows. You see here is my U of M Google Drive folder. Here is my U of M Box folder. Both of them appear as a local hard drive so they can be seen by or opened by ArcGIS or any other piece of software that you may wish to launch. So I'm going to minimize this for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start Arc over here. It does take a little bit longer to open on these virtual sites. So I've now launched ArcGIS. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip back to my Macintosh desktop, which is my local personal computer. Okay, so now I'm back on my Macintosh, my local personal computer. In here, I have a USB key, fundamentally, that has some files on it that I would like to be able to access on my virtual sites. So I can go to Google Drive, drive.google.com, not Giggle, that'll be something else entirely, won't it? Okay. And I'm going to, that's my personal one, here's my work one. And so I have a folder for teaching, but you can make your own folder as you'd like. For Earth 408, that's this class. Data files for labs. And so I'm doing this all on a browser on my own personal laptop. And I'm going to make a new folder here on Google Drive for Lab 18. Created that. And now I'm just going to drag these files off of my USB key onto the Google Drive folder. And so now these two files are on the Lab 18 folder on Google Drive. Okay, I'm going to swipe back over to my virtual machine. Here's our virtual machine. ArcGIS is still loading. So we'll take a second and look at the file browser again. So here is Drive L, my Google Drive. I can open that up. I can look in my teaching folder, Earth 408, data files for labs. There's Lab 18. There are the two files that I just dragged up to Lab 18 from my Mac side by putting them into a browser. Okay, so Arc has finished launching. I want it to open up with a blank map. I'm okay with that. But I need to save this map so that I can get it later if I need to. So I'm going to say File, first, Document Properties, Store Relative Path Names, so that as I move it somewhere else, I can still access everything I need. Say OK. Now I'm going to say File. I'm going to go to Save As. Now what we should be able to see here, if I look under this PC, down here is the Google L drive. Yours may have a different letter. I can go down to Teaching. I can open Earth 408, data files for labs. Here is my lab 18, and I can save this as my Nathan lab 18 map document. Save that. Now there's nothing in it at the moment, but you can see that now a lab document has gotten created in my Google Drive folder that I've connected to the virtual machine. I can also add data to this using the same process as we do on the workstations in the lab. One presumes it will hopefully start responding at some point. Okay, while waiting, I just went back over to my Macintosh, my personal Mac side, and now you can see on the browser on my Mac in my Google Drive folder is the MXD file that I saved from the virtual Windows machine. I could take this and download it to my local computer if I wish to have it here as well. Okay, so we're back over here. It's saved. I can add data. So in this case, I may wish to add, I'm going to add the .las. It's a laser file for LiDAR data, and just pop it in here for a second to show you what that looks like. It doesn't know the spatial reference. I'm not going to worry about that for the moment. That's not the purpose of this particular video tutorial. It's grabbing it from Google, and now it's displaying it here for you. And you can manipulate this data if you'd like. You can see it's currently colored by elevation. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to now save my MXD file again, keep the same name. And now the MXD file, yes, I replace it, and now it knows to open up the .las file with it. And as long as the two are always in the same folder, I can download these to my personal data, or my personal laptop. I could download these to my thumb drive. I could take them to another computer, and if they stay in the same folder together, because I've saved with the relative paths, Arc will be able to find them. Okay. All right. So I'm going to close this up for now. This tutorial is just about how to access these materials, not necessarily about how to do LiDAR data manipulation. And if you want to use any other piece of software, of course, you could transfer your files the exact same way. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I actually exit ArcGIS. And then the other really important thing to do if I'm all done with my virtual site is to go to the little icon of the person here in gray, click on him, and then choose Sign Out. That'll close down the session, and it means it will be available again for use in the future. Okay, that's all for my tutorial. Again, we can see my MXD file is here. My data files are here. I could, of course, grab these and drag them back over to my hard drive if I wish to do so, and then use them in other ways. All right.